really hope there's one owner or one general manager or one coach that finally gives Colin Kaepernick an opportunity to play in the NFL this year. Because he's still being whiteballed. Why is Tom not speaking out about that? He should be his biggest fucking ally. And he hasn't said one fucking thing.
It's an honor to be on this call. I mean, I'm definitely the worst basketball player on this call, but
God bless you. I hope God protects you and everything that you're building and fighting for and fighting with. I hope you win the battles you don't speak about.
Why people don't heal from anxiety is they just can't let love in.
Welcome, first-time listeners and returners, to the Sports Deli, where everyone deserves a seat at the table. But, I'm trying to...
Oh, there you go. There you go.
She loves Dr. Scholl's orthotics. She's a Hall of Famer. A lot of people that have come on this show, I don't know why, they've gotten some good fucking jobs afterwards. Jim Rome in the jungle. It's right here in the Sports Deli, baby. We got some good-ass karma right here. Let's fucking go.
I love it.
We hope you enjoy today's show, everyone. All right, let's rock and roll.
So Kim played in overtime. She played in all but 1 minute. And after the game, we won. And after the game, I said to her, Kim, I can't believe it. And I just really ranted and raved how she could have worked harder. I thought she was lazy in certain spots.
All game long. Let me introduce.
All right, let's hit it. Kim Hampton, the pride of Louisville, Kentucky, 30 years later, unbothered. She's in the Arizona State Hall of Fame. She played 12 years overseas before the WNBA even existed. She appeared in Spike Lee's She Hate Me, and she was the number 4 overall pick in the 1997 WNBA Elite Draft and started at center in the WNBA's very first All-Star game. And today, you will hear the rest of the story. Special thanks to Rebecca Lobo's knee injury, because it's the reason Kim jumped the opening tip in WNBA history against Lisa Leslie, which she lost, but the New York Liberty won the game 67-57 on June 21st, 1996. She used to work at Nike, won 3 state titles in the shot put while also competing in the high jump and discus in high school. She's the founder of Think Right, Shine Bright, where she believes in controlling the controllables. She's been featured in Glamour magazine, and her album will be coming out soon along with her book in the next 5 years. She sang at the CMAs, the Country Music Awards, Madison Square Garden. She's obviously sang the national anthem and much, much more. She was born the same year as track and field star and Olympian legend Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and the same day as Colin Kaepernick and Flau'jae Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find her on Instagram at I am Kim Hampton, and Kim is with a Y. Kim, we're so honored that you're joining us today here in the Sports Day with all these legendary, incredible women, including your former coach at Arizona State, Julian Simpson, who's at the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame right now for all of this year's ceremonies, including the newest inductees. So thank you so much for joining us today. We're honored that you're here with us today. One of the OGs of the W, ladies and gentlemen. And it should be noted that we are here with some of the women from the original W, the WBL, the Women's Basketball League. But I digress.
All right. And so she, after I give her a hard time, right, she goes into the locker room. And of course, I find out later the kids were saying, she wanted to quit. And they were like, no, don't quit. I get the stat sheet and I look at it. She had 39 points and 29 rebounds.
Oh my God.
She comes out of the locker room and I said, "Mir, Kim, I want to talk to you." And I was trying to be nice, but I go, and my personality was like, look, you had 39 points and 29 rebounds. If you would have worked a little bit harder, you could have 40 points and 30 rebounds.
Because coach will tell you, man, I used to get in trouble, have to run all the time because I wouldn't use my right hand. So you better give my lefty some just due.
Well, it was fun. It was fun.
I remember I was just gonna say, and remember, Coach, when like my nervous reaction would be just to laugh. Like if I was in a layup drill and we were doing something, or we were doing just some kind of drill, and I went to shoot it with my right hand and I would laugh. And remember one day you stopped me and says, "What's funny?" What's funny? You missed a shot, an easy shot. What's funny about that? Don't laugh anymore. And I was just like, oh, I didn't even know I did it. I didn't even know, because
Ooh,
I
see,
was just
sorry.
embarrassed. I know I
Excuse
was
me.
embarrassed, and it was just like my reaction, like, like.
Well,
Coach.
Kim, I just knew how great you were going to be, and I felt you were limited. And I knew if you got your right hand going, you would be unstoppable. And so, yep, that's the New Jersey kid in me. Is like you
Yeah.
just work hard till you get it done, and you work hard to be the best you could be. And you did create that. But we did have some good times there, didn't we?
We sure did. And I'm so grateful for him because, like I said, it's so easy to tap out when you because if you, especially if you haven't been used to pushing your own limits. And in high school, my experience was great, but I was just learning. I didn't really dress. I played JV my freshman year and I just dressed varsity, but I really didn't start playing varsity until my sophomore year of high school. So I came to you like with 3 years under my belt and not much accountability. High school coaches sometimes are just, trying to make it fun for the girls, and things, unless you're a competitive program. But yeah, it was like a wake up call. And I'm just so grateful just to know, that I had all these limitations on myself just because I had never done it or I'd never seen it. For us in that moment, in that time, women's basketball wasn't like it is now, where it is. We didn't have social media. It wasn't even on television unless it was like maybe the championship game. So it was really limited as far as what we saw possible and what we felt we could do.
Well, when I took that job at Arizona State, I just said I'm going to treat it like an Olympic team. And that's what I brought. I brought all those drills, I brought all that mentality. And in a short period of time, it was amazing. Like you still hold records there because, my favorite story I have to tell everybody is the the one we're playing at University of Washington. We played
The
in
one I was going to
overtime.
quit. I was ready to quit
Wait,
basketball
right.
forever.
And so, and so Kim played in overtime. She played in all but 1 minute. And after the game, we won. And after the game, I said to her, Kim, I can't believe it. And I just really ranted and raved how she could have worked harder. I thought she was lazy in certain spots.
All
And
game
just
long. Let me interject. All game long. All game long. She was get back on defense. You're supposed to be there. Rebound. You're not doing this. Go ahead.
all right. And so after I give her a hard time, right, she goes into the locker room. And of course, I find out later the kids were saying, don't worry about it, Kim. She wanted to quit. And they were like, no, don't quit. I get the stat sheet and I look at it. She had 39 points and 29 rebounds.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
she comes out of the locker room and I said, Kim, I want to talk to you. And I was trying to be nice, but I go, and my personality was like, look, you had 39 points and 29 rebounds. If you would have worked a little bit harder, you could have 40 points and 30 rebounds.
I
I
was
didn't, poor girl, I didn't let up on her. But the fun thing as I look back to Kim is she really brought her personality into the game, and probably the one of the few people that I could say that no matter what I said or did, here she is coming into my office. She came back her sophomore year and she wanted to be this fashion designer, right? So I hear click, 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 click coming down the hallway, and I'm like, what is this? She had an outfit on, and her belt was made of all seashells. She sits down,
Wow.
click, click, click. I say to her,
Oh my God.
Kim, did you go to class like that? Oh, yeah, the professor really liked it. I'm thinking,
I,
oh my gosh.
I had on my high heels. I wore makeup. I mean, I got dressed, I was serious about what I wore. And it was like a little, what do you call it? Like a sweetheart dress that fit and it was short. And then I had the belts on and I had my high heels on, and everything. And so she was just like, do you want to be you seem like you want to be more of a fashion model than you want to be a basketball player. You're going to have to decide what it is. But she loosened up. I went more towards the preppy look, and stuff, I was, but
That was your junior year.
I always felt like, gosh, why can't we be cute or why can't we, so I was probably back in the day, the Angel Reese of, of that
Right.
time, because of fashion and the way I wanted to look. with some other players too, like Pam McGee. She and I were good friends, so we really cared about what we looked like. And so, we just didn't want to look like the typical basketball player.
Well, Kim, I have to take you further back. We had the same fashion sense, and this is '70s. Just hi, Julene. I remember those days. We've never left the game, so we've watched your career throughout. And Julene followed you too at Arizona State, and but yeah, we had a fashion sense as well. I often say what's new is actually old. I think it's so important to have these opportunities to showcase how similar every generation was. The same things. We went through the same things, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So yeah, appreciate the fashion sense. And I want to thank you for your support. We had a great visit with you at the All-Star and appreciate your support of our era and our league and our history.
Can you do me a favor too? Because I want to make that post, but I wanted to make sure I had everyone's names right in that picture. So somebody text me, get my information so that I can create that post, because I felt like that post is that picture is legendary. And so now
I will. And we
post
posted you. We posted you on ours
well,
too.
you got to tag. Now you got to tag.
I don't know that I tagged, but I'll share it with you.
Okay, share it. See, that's why I say that's why we got to get these young people to help us and show us how to work this
Absolutely.
whole social media thing, because we can become collaborators on it,
Yes.
and then we can just like help. So yeah,
I will
always
do
tell
that.
everyone, if I don't post or mention your name or put the right hashtags and stuff, blame it on my head, not my heart.
Not our hearts.
Blame it on my ability.
Yep, same thing. Good to see you on here, Julene. Hoot always has some great guests, so we're always anxious to get on, and I'm sure, you have great stories. I just caught the late one about that story with the rebound. So, but yeah.
Hey, Susan. Hello.
Well, there's another one. Hey, hey, Susan.
Hi, Liz. How are you?
Good. I was just saying, Hoot always has surprise guests on, so it's always great community when we get on these events with him.
Hi, Julene. This is Trish Roberts. How are you?
Oh, Trish, I am good. I'm so glad that you're on too.
Good to see you.
And Hoot, we got these two Olympians, Julene and Trish, two great standout Olympians for that 19. I always have to give a shout out that 76 team, that first women's basketball Olympic team in history. So we're proud of our board member Trish, and we're proud of Julene and Annie, the whole gang, for getting things started. Yeah, and here at the induction, it is really an honor to be here again because they're celebrating the 1996, our Olympic team, which was 30 years ago. And it was this time, 50 years ago, that we started it all. So it is special. In fact, I was signing a couple autographs yesterday, and it's a pretty funny story for me. A couple people knew me because they come every year, and I was autographing. And then this one person, first time I'm signing for him, and he looks at me and he says, "Oh, you're part of the 96 team. Congratulations." And my daughter kind of like looked, her eyes got big. I said to him, "Well, thank you, but that's an honor." But I was on the 76 team. And go, "Oh, okay." But I thought that was pretty funny. He thought I was on the 96 team. I'm like, well, yeah. So it is really great because I think this induction year is all about the women, because they have all the 96 team is here. All the coaches are here. They have T-shirts here with women on the front of the T-shirts. And of course, the three that are being inducted, Parker and Lena and also Shamika. So they have pictures and more of women on these T-shirts and on posters and things like this. And the poster that they made for this year has the 96 team of women on the top, and then the other pictures of the people that are individually getting in. And I thought, wow, what a year to be able to do this. Again, taking us to the next level. Well, I think we have come a long way. And I think in 1976, no one even expected us to win a medal. And yet within the next, until 1996, they tried to develop and make changes. I think right now that is what's happening behind closed doors. And I think those of us who are in the game right now, I think we need to continue to use our foundation and use the things that have worked in the past, but add the new things that we need to look at. And I think that's with everybody. That's with the coaches, the players, the leagues. And I think we're all trying to do the same thing. We're just not all on the same path going the same way. And I think the communication is key because I think the more we hear and the more we do podcasts, the more we talk, we hear each other speak. And I think that inclusion and being kind to each other, and how could we take this to the next level? And I think that's where we're at right now. And I think just like in the past, we had so many growing pains. And I think that's where we're at right now. Is there one answer to be able to say, hey, this is what we need to do and we're going to fix the whole problem? It's not. It is a lot with the media. It's a lot with players. It's a lot with the coaches. It's if everybody would take the responsibility of saying, how can we make this better? What can we do? And I think what will happen, and I do believe that, because the more, I mean, being here and talking to people just yesterday and today, it's really great hearing someone else's thoughts on where this could be. How could we improve? How could we improve? One of the things that was discussed this morning a little bit was talking about the officials. And actually, I was talking with Joey Crawford, and who's being inducted. And, you know, he's part of the W. He's part of the officials with that. And just listening to somebody else saying, this is what happens behind the scene. And it makes you understand a little bit more. And how can I help that to be more positive than negative? Because now I know more things that are happening behind the scene that you don't know that's going on. So I don't know if it's a long drawn out, but I really think the communication, I think we're in a point where we were even before the 76 Olympic team was done. You know, in 1970, they talked about being in the 72 Olympics. There were growing pains with that. There were committees that were put together to try to get an Olympic team. Well, it didn't happen because 72 didn't have it. Now it was 76. And so how should we do this? Look at the difference between Trish and I having to compete in our region of 4 different regions. And out of 1,500 plus people that tried out from 14 to 40 or 50 years old, everybody tried out, to be one of the 32 to be in the final selection of the 12. And now we're looking at what did Sue Bird was on a podcast or an interview the other day, a press conference. I thought she did an excellent job, because this is where we're at in the Olympics right now, is that we are so talented. And so, you know, I want to also put a plug in for the 96 team, because I was just talking with a couple people a little bit ago and said the pressure that 96 team had, the 76 team didn't have that same kind of pressure. Like, you had to win the goal, but you didn't win the goal without winning by 30 or 40 points. You had to like blow them away because of what they were doing to prepare. So I think that's right now, that's kind of where we're at, where we're going to be. Again, it's communication and taking it into the direction that it needs to be.
So y'all should be so proud. I mean, I don't know if y'all anticipated 19,000 fans and switching arenas and hot dog sales up 700%. And like, no, seriously, like somebody who's pretty late in the game. I've been on the women's side for 19 years after spending 16 on the men's side. Man, it is amazing what's happened. And y'all were literally the pioneers and the ones that started all this, along with many others. And from the historic new collective bargaining agreement to the television deal, you know, I wish Judy Sweet was here, because she could have talked about how she started the first TV deal in the history of women's basketball on CBS. And just so many different, like you said, collaboration, people coming together for the bigger picture. I just think it's amazing. I mean, you're on like several different networks. I mean, it's amazing. And it's not a charity case. It's a real investment, and it should have happened a long time ago, not just in violation of Title IX, but because it was a thing. It's just the wrong narratives were put out there. So I think it's just amazing, and it's beautiful to watch.
And
Who?
your point is right on, is because of we're learning now. I think our people that are on the media that are calling the games, they're starting to talk about
Right.
the WBL. They're starting to talk about other things that people did not know. And as that, they could see the growth. And now, I agree with you. I think we are at a great point right now. And we need to get to the next level. How do we get there? Just by what you were mentioning about the officials. Everybody needs to take responsibility. You know, for me, sometimes I feel like when people talk to me about the WNBA or women's basketball, you know, I feel sometimes we're almost looking sometimes at drama versus the game itself. And I think if we could continue to speak about that, it will get to the people that are talking or making this drama, whether it's media, whether it's a coach or whatever, to get back to this is our game. We need to talk about this person who did something in the game, whether it's points or so on. I love to hear about the underdog, the one player that went to a different team and all of a sudden they're exploding. They've always had that talent. Why? It's a good fit. Let's talk about those things other than an incident that happens or something like that. And then we got to kind of go a week or two listening to something like that. So I do think we need to continue to be positive and find ways of how we can make it better.
You know,
Julie,
Julie, I think we're dealing with a different landscape. I don't think you can talk about the rhetoric without talking about the landscape that transcends sports. To me, I think that is the biggest factor. That's why it has spilled over into sports. It's because of the environment that we're in right now. It's spilled into everything. And so I think and I also want to talk about your shared responsibility. That's one of the things we promote. It is a shared responsibility to promote history. It is a shared responsibility to handle issues that arise from the players, the press, the coaches, the staff, the upper leadership. Everything is a shared responsibility, and everybody has to be accountable for their role in it. But I do think we embrace new fans, we embrace new viewership, but I also think coming with that, there's good and there's bad. But I think everything is a reflection of the climate that we're in. That's my opinion.
And Julian, you made the statement about you hearing people talk about the WBL, and we're so grateful that Legends of the Ball, who is the founder, is Elizabeth right here. We're promoting that the WBL in so many ways and having opportunities to do so because it was a viable league that existed, and so yeah, it's we're so grateful to see that ball behind you right there, Hootner, showcasing the WBL ball. And so a lot of the reason why they're talking about mentioning the WBL in some of their announcements and their commentation is because of the hard work that Liz has put in trying to get them media toolkits to be able to have things firsthand to be able to reference to.
And
Charlene, I
Oh,
was just going to say, to make a comment to that is I got exposed to it and then I see them on Facebook and I see them like at the college all-star game. You have done a great job. Your small group has done a fabulous job to be
100%.
able to get it to this level. So thank you for doing all of that.
Thank you.
Kim, go ahead,
Kim?
Kim. You're about to say something.
yeah, no. I just want to know, like, is there a documentary out?
Working on it.
You're working on it now.
I know
Because
Brenda's doing one right
Been
now.
working on it, Kim. Been working on it. As with everything, funding. You know, funding is the single factor that is preventing us right now. We've got everything else we need except funding, and that's the work in progress.
Okay, I have a question. I remember watching, I guess it was a documentary about was it the Mighty, what's the team?
Max.
Max, thank you. The Mighty Max. The Mighty Max. I remember watching that.
Immaculata. There's a lot of documentaries out. You know, Lucy's, of course, you know, Trish and Julian's great teammate and our great, you know, representative of our era, Queen of Basketball. There's a lot of documentaries out, short documentaries, you know, but we need the grand, you know, to try to put this to rest and cement it. Spokespersons like yourself, Alicia Clark, we have a lot of every team we visit, and Susan joined us with Unrivaled. And Athletes Unlimited, you can't make us believe that these young women, yourself and the younger ones playing now, don't want to know this history. If there's one takeaway, they feel cheated that they didn't know. Just like I would feel cheated not knowing my history, whether family or otherwise. So the interest is there. You can't make us, so when we're promoting it, you can't make us believe that nobody cares, that this generation doesn't care about their history. People care about history.
Mike?
And you can't gauge how far we've come. Susan, go ahead. You can't gauge how far we've come until you look at where we started.
Yep.
Mike?
Kim, were you finished making your statement?
No, all I wanted to say was I want you guys to reach out to me because I have someone that I would love for you to discuss this story with, who's a filmmaker. I would just love for you to discuss this. So just remember that, okay?
Will do. Go ahead, Susan.
First of all, I'd just like to say thank you for including me and sending me an invite, Mike Hoot. And Kim, congratulations. And I had a question for Kim. And I wanted to know, are you still singing with those amazing vocal cords?
It should be noted we've probably had two of the best WNBA singers in the history of the game between her and Ruthie.
Yes, I mean
on the show. So
incredible. But I remember watching you play, incredible, New York based. Some of my colleagues on that 1976 team, 76 Olympic team. Also, Althea Gwynn, a member of that 1976 Olympic team, Kim.
Okay. Well, I definitely think it is a collective effort for everyone. And I do believe that there is potential to be another team as the W continues to grow there in Florida. However, I do want to make mention because, I'm super proud. Donna Orinder started the Upshot League,
Yes.
which they have the Jacksonville team there, the Jacksonville Wave that are there, and they're getting ready to have their first championship or their first playoff there in the championship game. I think it's on the 29th of August. And so, and Taj McWilliams Franklin, for WNBA, standout Hall of Famer, all everything, and had a baby at 51, shall I mention too. Yeah, so she can. Yeah, so anyway, Taj McWilliams Franklin is doing an amazing job running that whole organization. So I do believe that there's possibility to be more basketball in the Florida area for sure. But everything is about timing. And we don't want to expand because I remember the WNBA started and then we were on a wave and we expanded too fast and a lot of the teams had to fold. And so that's what we don't want to do. And we want to make sure that wherever a team is placed, the team, that it's a need and a want and a desire to have the team there, that it can sustain itself there. The second part of that question, girl, you had me thinking here. I was like, I might forget that. You might have to tell me again what these questions are. But I am singing. I'm not singing as much. I was singing more because when I left New York, I went to Portland for like 4.5 years. And so I was on the music scene there. I've since then moved to the Charlotte area and I haven't gotten on the music scene yet. And it's just because I've been kind of busy and just doing a lot of stuff. But I said I definitely need to get back into it. So I will be adding that back into my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
your jazz vocals are,
huh?
Your jazz vocals are amazing.
I appreciate that. Dang it, I was just talking about that. And then the last question was Blaze Jowski.
Yeah.
Carol and I, we had a pretty good relationship. Carol, as you all know, was just a no-nonsense person. She was about winning. She was about scoring. And, she was just tough-nosed in everything that she did. I think if you learn to not take things personal with her, I think you would fare a lot better. And it's just because she has that hard East Coast mentality. I mean, you all know, shoot, she would go and play in the rucker and do whatever and be ready to fight anybody who said anything or did anything. So she was just one of those special individuals. But if you got past all of that, like I said, and you didn't take it personally, you just saw that that's her consistently across the board. So I learned that very, very early on. She's gonna call a spade a spade. If you're playing like shish, she's gonna let you know you're playing like shish, and stuff. But when you're playing well, she'll be the first one to say, great job, and so I just learned who she was early on. So I had a great relationship. I just saw her during I want to say it was All-Star weekend. I think that's when it was. But it was great. Yeah, that's when they had us go out on the court. And so, I'm really trying to bridge the gap between, her and the New York Liberty because I think she definitely needs to be honored and recognized in that history there. So, yeah, for me, Blaze is all good. I go to the house with the family and
Yeah,
swim and stuff. So, yeah, we have a great time. We have a great relationship.
that's great. That's great. Thank you so much. Great input.
Kim, how was the All-Star experience and then like compared to back in the day? Can you sort of shed some light on just the resources and just what a top-notch operation it was?
Well, I participated. I was voted a starter, the starting center of the Eastern team of the very first of the inaugural
Right.
All-Star game. And it was pretty much about promotion. The league was behind it. It was, heavy sponsorship. Whitney Houston sang the anthem. It was an amazing experience, but each one of us players, we had like a list that whole day of appearances that we had to go and make with different groups, organizations, different sponsors, and things like that. So it was probably a lot different now. I don't know how the players are experiencing it, but I know that they were at the Obama Center and they had practice, and I know Obama came through, and it was light. So I think a lot of those kinks have been ironed out, and now it runs a lot smoother. But I think. I think it's definitely evolved into something, and it's an opportunity for the women to get together and to be, for each other and to support each other. I mean, you saw everyone supporting everyone in the skills challenge and the 3-point shooting contest, and you have your team, and no one is out there really trying to bring that competitive experience into that moment. That moment, they're celebrating the fact that we are recognized as all stars, as the upper echelon of the WNBA because everyone in the WNBA is amazing. And so I think it's more about that. I kind of got off on a tangent because I kind of lost the direction that I wanted to go in. But
Mhm.
anyway, if I didn't answer any of your questions,
No. I do have a question about that though. You come from I guess the South/Midwest, and then you went west, and then you went back east. You worked for Nike. You obviously played in the W, and like if you were on a Zoom call with the 180 players, what would you say that should be kept behind closed doors? Just like when you're at practice or in the locker room, it should never get out anywhere in order to keep going instead of, some of the things that we've seen, which are inevitable, but it's just some things are so frustrating. And I'm sure it's got to be frustrating for you guys too, as well.
can you
Mhm.
give me an example of what you're talking about? Like, yeah, don't let me just get,
Well,
yeah.
one of my contentions is that it doesn't feel, and I'm not trying to knock Kathy or not Kathy. I'm just saying, generally speaking, it feels like there's not um, something in place, a system of checks and balances where the players are all on the same page before you tap into social media, before you do anything. You make sure that this is good for the game, or there's something that happens before the season starts to make sure that we're not repeating the same mistakes. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in my frustrations,
No, I agree
but
with you. I am so on board with you. That's all I have to say. I think there's whether it's airing dirty laundry, which what you do personally affects the league. It's just like when you're part of a team, you do something that hurts the whole team, or not just personal stuff, but just controversial statements. There should be some checks and balances in place. But I'll let Kim. But I'm on board with you.
Guys, I think that there are checks and balances in place. I think every WNBA player knows, or every league player knows, You know what I mean? There are fines that you can't speak about the officials. There are fine, like, so there are checks and balances in place, but you really can't control people. And if people are speaking from their hearts or people are speaking from their own true experiences, I mean, you can't control things. Players will get fined because they say something because they felt a particular way. So no matter
Mhm.
how many checks and balances in place, you cannot control and contain people's opinion, people's experience. So I think
Mhm.
that's number one.
Mhm.
And it's just impossible because there are so many variables to things that happen. Like you can say black and white, okay, we're not going to talk about this and we're not going to do that. But then something happens that, is in that gray area and it's kind of like, oh, well, but this happened and now what should I do? So
It's
it's a
tough.
little tricky.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
and it's very tough for Kathy and for the league, for Adam, for them, the decisions make. They're walking a tight rope with trying to be a league for the players, trying to be a league for the owners, trying to be a league for the fans and the media and the world. And it's a tight rope because you're not going to be able to please everyone in every situation.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
That's a very good response, Kim. And I'm just echoing something that Hoot mentioned, and Liz also mentioned this. And this is an interesting concept because
Mhm.
can be good media or bad media, good publicity, bad publicity. We want to focus more on the game versus the drama that occurs.
So it's not
Yeah.
about control. It's not about controlling people's right to speak about those things. It's almost like an unwritten rule of your responsibility. Nobody wants to be a role model, but you are. It's almost like an unwritten rule that you have to take upon yourself, I think. I don't know if it comes from the players and speaking with each other among themselves, among each team, among the collective. But I just feel that there has to be some kind of accountability and responsibility, thinking and pausing maybe before you speak those emotions and phrase how you phrase it and what you choose to share. This country is built on we have a right to speak, but you also have a responsibility when you're part of a collective.
Well, now, this is what I can say. We know that individuals have their own levels
Mm-hmm.
of maturity when it comes to emotional maturity. I mean, I think the person that's leading our country would be a good example of that.
The climate.
We start talking about stuff. So what I'm saying here but I feel like people want to focus on the WNBA and anything that they do now you blow it up and you make it into
Yes.
something when a whole
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are emotionally like not holding their bargain, they're emotionally immature in certain
Mm-hmm.
things. And in the heat of the moment, people say and do things. We all say
Yes.
and do things, but now you want to hold people, in the WNBA. I feel like, honestly, as a former WNBA player, I feel like everyone from day one, a lot of outside entities have wanted to piggyback and wanted us to uphold the agendas of so many organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Again, yesterday I did an interview on the Fumble and and I was telling them, I remember a fan coming to me saying to me, how come the New York Liberty isn't celebrating Pride Week? How come you guys are, the over 50% of the players in the WNBA are lesbians, so why aren't they supporting it? Why isn't the New York Liberty supporting it? And I said to that fan, listen, that might be true, but here's the thing. The WNBA just started. This is our first year. We have wobbly noodle legs. We don't even know if this is going to last. We're finally gotten an opportunity again, a stronger opportunity because there was a WBL, but we finally have an opportunity that has the backing of the NBA and Nike and all of these big corporations. Like, let us grow roots first before, like you are expecting us to take on that. And I just felt like it wasn't fair for so many organizations. And now you look at the women, now you have all of these hate mongers, that want to
Mm-hmm.
be WNBA fans. Look, who now everyone is questioning sexuality, everyone is questioning, what we do, how we dress. Like, why us? Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
no other league that's under as much scrutiny or that people talk about than us. Like, the NBA, and I said, you don't go to the game and say, I wonder Jalen Brunson is bisexual, or you think he has a boyfriend? It's like, why can't we play basketball? Why can't we be beautiful, strong, intelligent, immature, whatever we are as individuals? But you look at us as basketball players, and that's what you're holding us to be basketball players. Why does all of the other nonsense have to be brought into our game? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the politics, you're calling in, let these women play basketball. It's a physical game. Yeah, it's aggressive. Back in the 80s, they were having brawls in the NBA, wasn't they? 70s and
Oh
80s.
yeah,
So I'm
70s was.
just, so
Seven,
I'm saying, so
Mhm.
I'm just
the
saying,
bad boys.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, like, why, like, I just wish people would let us be like the haters, the people that are bringing like the politics, the people that are bringing, the racism into this. This is basketball, y'all.
That's
Like,
what I mean. It's a reflection of the climate that we're in. I strongly believe that this is a climate. You have people who never even watched a WNBA game before, but you're using certain players to promote your own agenda. It's not
their own
necessarily
platform and
their
agenda.
agenda, but that's the climate that we're in right now. And I think that's the bigger issue, of course. And I agree with you, Kim. That's a great take on it. And you kind of enlightened me, being old school and uh, being at the beginning of something and having to walk a tightrope. Um, but it is we're just a little microcosm of the whole climate of this country, and I think that's what we're seeing.
And then you take on the latest thing, where the two former NBA players decided that they're going to enter the 27 draft. And then now that's a whole nother thing. Now you have
Hmm.
the whole league, like, what is Kathy going to say about transgender now? What do the players feel? And what do they?
Hmm.
And now if you speak anything against the transgender community,
Hmm.
then it's like, oh, you're anti, and I'm just like,
Yes.
wait, how did this happen? When they said women, they in the bylaws that, that women are eligible, and stuff, I think they meant birthright women. If you were considered a female or a male or a female at birth, because no one is born and says, okay, I want to be other. That's a personal decision as you get older to
Hmm.
become other, or something like that. So I think that's what they meant. But because of all the loopholes and because of everything that goes on, like I said, only in our league. Like, and
Hmm.
and for me, sure, I love everybody. I love everybody. I'm just
Hmm.
like, I believe there's space and room for everybody, and I'm not judging anybody because I am not God. And so my point is I just feel like for me, there are certain advantages if you're speaking of a male. Now you might dress like a female and you may have gotten hormonal changes, and I don't even understand it and know it. So I'm just speaking off of the top of my unknowledgeable head. So I'm just saying I feel like there's certain advantages, like men, some men can be stronger and faster and taller. And so imagine if all of the NBA players that got cut decided, you know what, I'm just gonna identify as a female now, and then I'm gonna come over into the WNBA because, we won the lawsuit and it wasn't stated, and because of this, and but we can't do that. And the reason why we can't do that is because we can't compete there. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine, I mean, there are some women that probably could. I'm just saying not, but I'm speaking on a whole. That isn't something where I can just say, okay, I'm going to identify as a male now and I'm going to go play in the NBA. Why is that? Because no, we wouldn't be able to compete as well as men being able to come over into our league because technically, it's the level of everything is different.
Hmm. Well.
Hoot,
Yeah,
what you got to say?
yeah. I wasn't gonna go to that because it's an
It's too
important topic
complicated.
for some
Yeah.
people. But we're talking about 3 out of 40,000 trans women, uh, just in terms of the general public, and so I think both can be true. I think you can support the LGBTQIA plus community and still not understand, like you said, everything that goes into the considerations because of what you just mentioned. And people will go to the far left or the far right instead of sitting down at a table and taking into consideration the chemistry, the physical things that someone's born with, pre-puberty, post-puberty. I think there's a lot of things to consider, and I think both can be true. I don't think anything's mutually exclusive. I think it's unfair to run with another false narrative and weaponize the trans community, because it's already probably the most difficult, and especially if you're a black or brown trans woman, it's even more difficult. And so I just think that that's not even going to be a thing. If they want to sit down and clarify the bylaws, it's just, and the fact that somebody who's a white and a child is one of the people that claimed that he was going to make himself eligible for the WNBA draft is insulting to women everywhere. And more NBA players, as I've said in one of my previous videos, should be standing up to that ass clown who had the audacity to come out and say that he was going to make himself eligible for a publicity stunt when he beat the shit out of his wife and his kids. And he has a 50-year, 50, not 5, a 50-year no contact order with his former kid and ex-wife. That's what should be talked about more. And why are the NBA players not standing up for that and the trans community? So that's my take on that. As much as I've been passionate about Tom Brady and Colin Kaepernick, Elizabeth, you know that.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff is equally as, if not more.
Yeah. And it's one of the things, Kim, is we know you, we know all the players from the time we stopped playing ourselves, because we never left the game. We have coached this game. We have watched this game. We've supported this game. So kids are always, and young people are always fascinated, from high school to college to Athletes Unlimited, all of them, because we know their names. We know where you played college. We know who your coaches were, because we simply have impacted this game in that way. Our handprints are all over the game. So I support you. I celebrate you, and we celebrate the W. We celebrate this growth of this game. We had such an impact on it that we love. And every chance I get to do so or say so, I'm going to do it. And Hoopler, thank you for this opportunity that you keep bringing us together with your guests to celebrate it.
I just wish I had a bigger platform.
Oh, sorry, Hoop.
No, I was just saying I wish I had a bigger platform. I mean, I don't make a dime on it. I just do it to serve. And
but it matters. It gets out there. It matters, especially when we all tell it, and the people you have on. I believe in the grassroots philosophy. That's how Lob has taken off. It's been totally started off grassroots. And now, of course, as we've expanded and gotten more contacts, but grassroots works. So no platform is too small. No audience is too small. You never know who that person is going to be that's going to take that message to a broader audience.
Well, I'm just so grateful. Like I said, I was such a late bloomer coming to the game of basketball. I started really playing my sophomore year of high school, and then went to Arizona State. And, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I just wanted to get away. I didn't want to stay. I just felt like, I don't know, I had the travel bug in me, and I just felt like I wanted to go somewhere else and see somewhere else. And I just felt like there was so much more than Louisville, Kentucky. And so I went to Arizona State. And then from there, when I graduated, there was no professional basketball in America for women. And I started playing abroad. So 6 years in Spain, 4.5 years in Italy, a year in France, a year in Japan. And then they started the WNBA. And to be drafted at 35, getting ready to be 36 in the elite draft,
Wow.
that was truly an honor. And scoring the first 2 points in New York Liberty history, tipping off the first game with Lisa Leslie, that has been an honor. And so when I see where the game has come from, like I saw all of the hiccups and the wrinkles that we had to endure. They just the new collective bargaining agreement just awarded players that have played 5 years or more.
Right.
But I only played 3 years,
Yeah.
so nothing,
Yeah,
so I still
there's
feel
got to
like
be
that.
merit. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can I please say something to that? I've been told that, well, the WBL only lasted 3 years. Well, the team only lasted this many weeks or months. There is no time frame on impact, on excellence, on accomplishment. You can't bottle it and put this certain time frame on it. There are people that might have played 5 years and never accomplished or had the impact that you and others had who played less. So that has been one of my biggest platforms in promoting the WBL. Well, you only lasted 3 years. Well, in that 3 years, do you know what we gave the game? Do you know the impact that we had? So I am with you all the way on that. There should not be a time frame that limits or diminishes your impact and your contributions.
Exactly. And and so I just wanted to say, after being a part of that, seeing the lull and the dip and the questioning, seeing the teams fold, and now seeing where it's at, the momentum and how it's
Mhm.
trending. Now, I mean, I feel so proud of that. But I just wish we could keep basketball, basketball. Like, I wish
Mhm.
that we could allow these women to display who they are. If they're fashionistas, if they love to cook, if they love to sing, if they love to rap, if they have their own podcast, if they have, like, allow them to live because, mind you, they're not making the money that the men are making in the NBA. So they still have to be mindful of livelihood, for life after basketball. We know that injuries can happen and you never ever you might not return to be the player that you were. We know that every single year, there are a few new players going into the league, and there are some players that are very capable of being on a roster, but because of roster spots, they're not in the league. So I'm just saying, I wish that everyone, like as fans, as far as the fans and the media and everything, if you could just focus on like the positive stuff, like focus on tell those good stories, like let us play basketball. Let us be aggressive. Let us be, let us play hard if that's what we're gonna do, and let us duke it out ourselves. Like we don't
Mhm.
need like all of the outside stuff, the outside chatter to kind of interfere with the game because then it takes it to other ugly places that it's
Yes.
no that there's no room for it in basketball.
It's mean-spirited, the mean-spirited stuff. Everybody
Yeah.
has an opinion, but when you cross the line with
And
the
death
with the
threats. Come on,
yes,
death threats on
yes,
children. Death threats.
yes,
Come on. Like
yes,
really, this,
I mean, I gotta
yes.
be honest with you. Probably 3 years ago. I mean, it's no secret that Caitlin was a big part of how this whole thing shifted. But watching the tunnel walks,
Of
Kim,
which we were a part of
Kim,
recently.
come
Yay!
on, Kim, what would you be wearing in your first game if you were doing the tunnel walk, bro?
yeah, I don't know. Knowing me, I'll be wearing some kind of dress or something. Definitely the heels,
Oh, that would have been your
or something
moment.
like that. But that would have been my calling because one of my dreams, prior to even playing sports, because again, I didn't start participating in sports until high
Right.
school. One of my dreams was to be a singer and a model. And so I definitely, as childhood dreams, I definitely would have been rocking something. I would have
Oh yeah.
loved that. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Who's your maybe that's something that people don't know about someone that you follow or someone's storyline that is playing right now that you think's a great story that you didn't know before that you know now that maybe people would appreciate?
So many players that I really, really love. And if any advice that I would give them, it would be advice to like help them shine better or look better in the light and the media. Like one of the things that I said, like if I got around Paige Beckers, I would say, Paige, okay, I'm gonna need you to stop the animations with the referees. Yes, they miss calls. I'm over there like, wow, that's a foul. I'm at home watching. I get it, and stuff. But if you can't do anything about it, then don't
Yes.
let it ruin your demeanor. Don't let it ruin and make you start looking like a crybaby, like every foul and it's not called. Every time you come down and shoot and they didn't call the foul, just let it go. Let
I
it
think
go
that is starting to grow, really. It is
on
just,
a lot of
and as
It's
players.
not the
someone who
only.
loves and is committed to the sport, I get that comment from people who talk to me about it. Why do they always complain about every call? So if
Yeah.
I could tell them, I would tell them that too. That this is not me. I'm here for the long haul. I don't like it, but you've got people that want to support and they are irritated by it.
Well,
It just
And I get it. As players, you're super irritated by it because you missed a shot, and especially if you're having one of them days where things aren't going down, and then the
yeah.
referee keeps missing you're allowing them to play super aggressive on me
You're
and they're
supposed to
fouling me
win. You're
every
gonna win.
single time. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fouling me every single time. I get that. Those
Mhm.
I played too. So I
Yeah.
understand what that is,
Yeah.
but and then you're going to turn around and you'll call that same stuff on the other end. Like I
But that's
completely
been
and
going on
completely.
forever. That's been going on forever. As a player and as a coach, that's the coach's job to kind of get on that. We raised our hand and we kept it moving. and you get it back somewhere else. You find a way to make up for that bad call or to get that back. And if you're supposed to win, you're going to win. Maybe by not as much, but you're going to win. That's what I think.
And another thing, it's building relationships. I think building relationships with the referees, talking to them like,
Can you
hey
watch?
Sue, exactly. Hey Sue, can you watch this? Like it's like every time I drive to the basket, I understand it's like a physical game, but watch the physicality. Like it like altered my shot or, and things like that. And I think
Yes, I agree.
referees are people, when they start, when you talk to them like that, and you say, and then I'm sure they go and rewatch film and things. I think, and so I think that could help. But then I think referees, if they start watching characteristics of players as well, and I don't know if they do, I'm just throwing this out there
Right,
again.
right.
If they watch characteristics of players, because you have some players that will grab your arm and hold it like this and have somebody's arm in their arm and they got their hand. My hand is free. I'm not doing anything, but you are
Yes.
holding that person because those are
Yeah.
some of the tricks that, the trade that the Euro players used to do. And my former teammate, Stu Wicks, was good at. Some of those plays, where you might grab the shirt as they go by, just to give them 2 seconds when the ball goes out of bounds, and you're like, they held my jersey, and stuff. So I think, watching
Kim,
those,
that has been going on forever. That's what I
I
can't.
understand.
That's
But
what I
my
can't.
point is,
Oh, I
but I
get your
get,
point. I get your point.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the point is when I think referees start to do that as they're making calls, I think it could sometimes, shine a brighter light into like when you're making a call,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And thankfully you can review things now when we couldn't review them back then. The call was just
Right.
a
The
call.
call was it. That was it. Sometimes maybe it should be that way, but I don't know. But yeah, it's funny because a lot of the things that they complain about in the trends, I mean, it's not new. It's just more visible. It's been going on. But I agree with the demeanor to the refs because I never worried about the refs as a coach. I would, if I felt it was impacting the game, or certainly if it was endangering my players, that's when I would talk to the refs. And I would always tell my players, adjust, adjust. If they're letting them play, then hey, jump in. If they're calling it tight, adjust. If it gets to be anything else, I, as a coach, will step in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think too, like you said, if your coach just coaches, look, let the referees, let's not worry about that. Let's play and
Yes.
make the shot anyway. Let's play
Yes.
and make the shot
Or get
anyway.
it back some other way. Make up for it some
Exactly.
other
Get
way.
it
Go get an offensive
exactly.
board, or go get a steal, or go get a rebound.
I think that's the best. And if you get and if let's don't expect the foul, but if you get it, that's just the cherry on the
Just
sundae.
adjust. I also have to say this. I know there's been some bad officiating at every level, but I really think the refs are turning into scapegoats for everything right now.
Yeah,
That doesn't
and I'm
go your way.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I feel like let them play. Who the hell wants to go to a game and every time someone drives to the basket, the whistle blows?
Yeah.
I don't want to see a game won by free throws. I want to see tough, physical, dynamic,
Yes.
skilled players being able to go to the rack, being able to get fouled, and still make the shot. That's what
Yeah.
I want to see that. Even in college, like college basketball sometimes makes me want to throw up because I'm like, damn. How are you going to build them into being WNBA
Right.
players when you're bailing them out, calling
Oh,
every freaking foul?
international
Like I felt
players.
like that was the demise of Caitlin Clark. She was so
Yeah.
used to getting every call in
Mhm.
college that if she
Mhm.
didn't score, then it was a foul. That
Mhm.
when she got in the WNBA and they weren't calling fouls like that, and they
Mhm.
were playing a lot more physical and they let a lot more go, then
Mhm.
everybody's looking like, wait a minute, you guys are picking on her. No,
Yeah.
that's just
Trying to
the
hurt her.
pros.
Trying to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the pro. So I feel like if players realize, look, they're gonna let us play. I got
Mhm.
away with a few fouls. I've gotten away with
I
several,
took my
that
share.
should
I
have been
certainly had
fouls.
my share.
So then I gotta get a couple, so or I, give up a couple, or we gotta, I know that I'm not gonna get a couple of calls. So I think if we
Mhm.
could just get there, I think it would be a better. I think the league would be a lot better, and we
I
realize that
agree.
this is a big girl league, and no,
Mhm.
we're not calling everything. Make the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not talking about cheap shots. We're talking about just
Yeah.
regular
Yeah, we're
physicality.
not
Correct.
talking about
Correct.
cheap shots.
No cheap
Nobody's talking
shots.
about dirty
No
play
cheap
or anything
shots.
like that. We're
Yeah.
just talking
No
about the
cheap. Yeah.
physicality of the
Yeah.
game. Nobody wants to see anybody get cheap shots or get hurt. That's
Yes.
not
At
it.
all. Yes.
But
And
At all.
coaches and players aren't smart. If you just went up to the ref and say and just asked, "Hey, what'd you see there?" I mean, all you had to do was frame it in a ref speak kind of
yeah,
way, and instead of
yes.
yelling, which we've all done, we've all played, but Just say, hey, what'd you see
I've
there from
never
your
yelled at a
angle?
ref. I've never yelled at a ref as a player or a coach.
Well,
Nope. Nope. Never yelled. Talked,
Yeah, me either.
discussed.
yes. Well,
Yes.
Me
you're
But
either.
obviously a better person than I am, but I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, and all you have to do is say, what did you see from your angle? What'd
Yeah.
you get? What'd you have there?
Yeah.
Okay, Kim, if you could have dinner with 5 people that you never met before, past or present, dead or alive, who would you have dinner with?
Ooh. Huh. Let me think about that. Okay. Uh, Jeez. Okay, I'd have dinner with Oprah.
Oh, you never met Oprah?
I mean, I've met her before. Yeah, I've met her before and
Oh,
stuff
okay,
like that,
gotcha.
but I would have dinner with her. You
Yeah,
said
yeah,
dinner, right? And
yeah.
I've met
Past or
President
present.
Obama before and I have a picture, but I would have dinner with him and Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I would have dinner with Nancy Wilson. I've met her as well. And these are it's so crazy because I've met all these people, but I would have
Who's
dinner
Nancy
with her.
Wilson?
She's a
The
singer.
great
She's a
jazz
performer.
singer.
The great. Well, she wasn't.
Oh, got you.
She
Okay.
didn't pigeonhole herself. She was a great
Great
singer. She did,
singer.
but yes,
But categorized as in jazz, maybe.
yes. Um, and who else? See, I'm forgetting. Like that. I hate that question sometimes.
Well,
When
it could
you
either
talk about
be,
Maya Angelou. Oh my God. I
that would be
just
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I
mhm.
mean, I get it, but I'm just trying to think of if there's anyone else.
Well, it could be comedians, singers,
Your
politicians.
ancestors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
World
Jesus,
leaders.
look, Jesus.
Of
There we
course.
go.
Well, we
And
all gonna see him one day.
I just said I'd
There you
like to
go.
sit down. No, and I don't know.
Before
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a tough question. I got one more. Let me see.
You want to talk about any of the other things you're involved with right now that you want to put out there,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, so right now, I'm starting this platform. It's called Think Right, Shine Bright.
yes,
And basically, it's a mindset development platform that helps people to understand the power of our thoughts, the power of the beliefs, some of the core beliefs that we have that influence everything that we do in everyday life, and we don't even know about it. For me, I really am passionate about speaking to young people. Like I like high school students, college students, definitely student athletes, but this is corporate as well because a lot of times, we are ruled and governed by these thoughts. We won't do certain things, or we will, or we do certain things that sabotage what we say we want to do. And so I think just bringing that awareness to people, helping people to understand that, if you think right, you get to shine bright because what we have on repeat is going to continuously bring into our lives. And, if you're constantly thinking about what happened, last year, my husband left me with all the kids and so you're going to keep your vibration at that level. And that's what's going to happen when you can think about like, okay, well, what can I do now? How can I control my controllables? And so, yeah, so that's definitely what I'm doing. You can look me up on I am Kim Hampton, KYMHAMPTON. I'm on Calendly as well. So
so
yeah,
give me
so
an
I'm looking to,
example. So if I had like a 10-minute consult with you, we're not talking
uh-huh,
about the psychology of your childhood trauma. We're talking about how can you use your specific. Let me give you an example. So I used to teach golf along with
uh-huh,
coaching college tennis,
uh-huh,
and everybody who you teach has a different skill set.
right.
So do you take into consideration if they're type A personality, type B personality, and then do you have a questionnaire so you know more about, like, how do you formulate the suggestions for each different person?
Well, for me, it is again about knowing who you are and the things that you do. For example, you might be a person that wants to play more, for example. And so I ask you certain questions, like how often are you in the gym? Have you ever sat down and had a conversation with your coach and explained that, yes, I want to play more? What are some of the things? Did you get with your coach to devise a plan? The coach might say you don't make great decisions out there. Okay, can I watch film with you? Can, like maybe a couple times a week, can I sit down and watch film with you? Can you show me where I was when I made that poor decision and where I could be? Can you help me come up with a plan? So I help people more so focus on themselves and control their controllables and to work on the things. But it is about communication. It's about speaking up. It's about being aware of who you are, the things that you do, and the things that you sabotage yourself with. Like, what are you thinking about? Like, oh my gosh, when do you like being aware? I have an acronym. It's called SHINE. It's called SHINE, and it stands for see it, hear it, interrupt, neutralize, and then elevate. And so basically, it's like you have to be aware of the moment when you start whatever that is, when that trigger happens. Okay, what was I doing, and what am I saying to myself? Okay, my trigger was, whenever I was in the spotlight, and it started when I was on stage and got stuck on stage, and then I started being stage fright. Well, that morphed into my sports, because in sports I became a standard athlete and I was in what? The spotlight. So so that's kind of how I work with that. I get people to understand, kind of why they're doing some of the things that they're doing, and then how they can kind of change those things and give them a different perspective, the way you look at things. Like sometimes we look at things like, I didn't make that team, or this is that and another. And I said, well, maybe you were dodging a bullet. You get an opportunity to work on your skill set and work on a level, and to really go to a team that really needs and wants what you have. You would have sat on the bench the whole time and been miserable, and would have been doubting yourself the whole time. And that would have reflected on your self-image and how you feel about yourself. So that that
I love that.
that's kind of, yeah.
Well,
It's great.
coaches should take that advice as well. I had a player come in. She's sitting on the bench. I was coaching college, and she's like, "Coach, why am I sitting on the bench?" I said, "I don't know." And I started her, and she ended up being all state, 8 threes in a game twice, and then ended up being the #1 player in the state for this award for academics, community service, and as a player. I mean, those conversations are important because, from my experience coaching men and women, girls and women have a harder time speaking up. And, if the coaches have an open door policy and you're encouraged to thoughtfully approach these things that you're thinking, but you're afraid to say them, I think it'll help everybody involved be a better version of themselves.
Yeah, and coaches coach from a place of how they were coached.
Right.
I mean, if you had a
Totally.
really tough-nosed coach, you might be a tough-nosed coach yourself. And I think it's a lot of times coaches don't understand that at the end of the day, let's strip away everything. This is a person. How can I bring out the best in this person? Because you have 12, 15 different people on your team, and they don't react the same, and you as a coach, that might not be your skill set, so you hire what you're not good at to build that whole complete base of what it is that you need as far as coaching is concerned. But at the end of the day, people don't remember what you do, what you say. They remember how you make them feel. And then when you make people feel good, they will run through the wall for you, especially girls and women. They will run through the wall for you. So I think that's the #1 thing that coaches need to remember. This is a person. Would I treat my daughter like this? Would I want my daughter to go to a program and me treat my daughter? Would I want some coach treating my daughter or son like that? And I think when you strip everything away, get back down to just a person, a human being, I think a lot of things and issues can be solved.
Totally. All right. Any final words? We really appreciate your time. Wow, man. A lot of great people coming on showing love.
Wow. Yeah. It's it for me. I mean, I'm thankful for the opportunity and to share. Again, I'm just super excited about women's basketball, just women's sports. I know there's a new baseball league that started,
Yeah,
right, for
it's
women?
crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah, I'm excited for
I
them
mean,
and for
everything. Women's hockey are, they're
yeah.
selling out. It's just volleyball. I mean, it's
And then
just,
softball. I'm an avid softball fan now.
Wow.
oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
amazing. So what's next on tap for you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? I definitely see myself as an author in 5 years.
Here we
I
go.
might have an album out or two, or some songs out, and stuff. I see myself traveling. One of the trips I want to go to, I want to go to Bali and Tahiti. I want to go to some of
There
those
we go.
places. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I see myself as as a guru when it comes to helping people believe in themselves and helping people to control their narratives and giving the power back to themselves and and just helping people become the best version of themselves. So that's definitely one of the things, and I love speaking to people. So definitely a renowned speaker and
You don't care who
author.
it is? Do you like talking to current pro athletes or little girls or like doesn't
Yeah.
that?
It doesn't matter because the story
Yeah.
because when you stop and then okay, let me just start by asking you three questions. I know you got to go, but the
No,
first
I'm
question,
good.
and okay, well, if this okay, and this is for you guys and for those of you listening in as well. Okay, my first question is, how many of you have ever talked yourself out of doing something because you were afraid you would fail, or you were afraid you would embarrass yourself, or you just felt like you weren't good enough? Talked yourself out of doing something.
I mean, Annie just told me the other day, by the way, she said sorry, she was with her grandkids, but she was gonna come on and say hello. But because I told her, I was like, I don't know if I want to bother Julene again. And she's
Yeah.
like, you
There
gotta
you go.
ask.
There you go.
I just but yeah, it's different layers,
Yeah,
different
it
levels.
is. Okay,
Yeah.
but that is talking yourself out of doing something that you felt like would have been great and it would have
Right.
helped the show and it would okay, so that's a yes for him. That was a yes for me.
Yeah.
Okay, how many of you have ever dimmed your light to be liked by a group of people or just to kind of fit in or just to make those people around you feel a little bit more comfortable? Dimmed your light.
I've I've done that. Dim it to make people around me feel more comfortable.
Exactly. So, okay,
Yeah.
so we can all say that we've done that. And then the last question is, how many of you know without a shadow of a doubt that you're capable of so much more than how you're showing up in maybe some of the areas of your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we can all say yes to those questions. And so what that tells me is that on some level, we all deal with self-doubt. We all deal with performance anxiety. We all deal with fear of failure, and we all underachieve on some level. And so the common denominator between that is this, our minds. It's our minds. It's the experiences that we've had and the core stories that we formed around those beliefs. So yeah, that message is for everyone because I don't care if you're a billionaire, you're suffering from some self-doubt, fear of performance. You just feeling like maybe your money can buy you and get you what you want, but at that core person, you're just like everybody else. So yeah, that my message, yeah, it's for everyone.
I
Hmm.
love that. It reminds me of Colette V. Smith, the first African American female
Oh,
in the
football
NFL.
coach, yeah, the
Yeah.
NFL. Colette, that's my girl.
Oh yeah. But
Colette.
she has one of those kind of organizations where she's, uplifting young girls, because everyone needs to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Not easy for kids these days
No, it's not.
It's
across
not.
the
It's
board.
not.
Yeah.
It's not. But again, it's perception too. And if we go in believing it's not easy, it's not easy. It's not
Right.
going to be easy. We can say that, yeah, that's what life is. Life has some great times because sometimes it is really easy. Like sometimes you just meet a person and be like, oh, okay, and everything happens. So when we say that, like life is hard, then we're projecting that onto ourselves, and life is going to show us our minds. If we believe that, our minds are going to constantly show us evidence that life is hard. But if we say,
Right.
life is full of ups and downs, like, or life is good, like, yeah, of course, we're going to all be challenged, but that's a nicer way to put it instead of just saying that it's hard. We're going to all be challenged because we all need to grow. So,
The last question to that, and I'll let you go. So, was there a moment where a light went on, or a coach did that for you, or you realized that I need to make this adjustment, shift paradigms, pivot, so that I can now do it for other people? Because we all, like you said, have that, but you played at the highest level. So, like, how did that work for you?
yeah, it kind of clicked within myself. And then when you stop and okay, I feel like we're all blessed with our unique gifts and talents. And one of my gifts and talents was always to be able to talk to people, and people confided in me. Like people come to me all the time. Like I always have a different way or better way. So but I didn't apply it to myself. So
Gotcha.
after it was after I stopped playing in the WNBA and everything, when I was trying to figure out who am I, what am I going to do with my life and things like that. And then as
Mm.
I started speaking and I would go out on speaking engagements, I realized people really poured in and believed that. So that was within myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm good at this. Like I I help people. I see the difference, and people take me serious, and so that was I had to make that shift, that flip within myself. Yeah.
Well, keep being amazing. I can't wait to. I listen to books. I don't read them. So I hope you
Me
do
too.
the. I cannot. I fall asleep. So I hope
Yeah.
you narrate your own book. I know it
Yeah,
takes
for
time,
sure.
but I like hearing. Uh, like I had the anxiety doctor on, Dr. Russ Kennedy, and him doing his own book just made all the difference in the world. So just
I believe that as
awesome.
well. I definitely believe that because you get insight on a person, and then if I'm feeling a
Right.
particular way, I might say, and then she had the nerve to say
Right.
such and such and such and such, instead of you really, and that hurt my feelings. Like I was really hurt by that. And so now you feel
Right.
what I'm saying in the book. So yeah, I agree with you.
Totally.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for the
Okay.
time. I know it's been a minute. We tried to do it, back when, but it's all,
Yeah,
we got to follow
yeah,
the rules. It's all good.
exactly. All the rules and the red tape, and everything. But I'm free. I
Did
was
you have a good
free.
time? Did you enjoy
Yeah.
it there?
Yeah, I did. Nike it was a wonderful experience, just a wonderful opportunity. But I didn't get a chance to be me. I was so engulfed in learning the business, learning
Yeah.
about marketing, learning that learning organizational stuff, just regular stuff like trying to learn Excel and trying to learn stuff that I
Oh
had
my
never
God.
experienced because I played
Right.
basketball all my life. And so it was that, but I felt like I was dying. I felt like this Kim
Interesting.
Hampton and the things that I had to say, this thing, I felt like that was going to be no more. And so, life happens and, I
Yeah.
got let go of in the last reorganization. And so here I am, launching Think Right, Shine Bright, which is where I think I definitely needed to be. So,
Blessing in
yeah,
disguise. Yeah.
yeah, true indeed.
All
True
right.
indeed.
Well, man, y'all are amazing. I'm just here to be a vessel and a bridge any way I can. So I appreciate you having faith in me always to spread the love and the message any way I can. And anything I can ever do, just tap in.
Thank you.
We'll definitely follow up, Kim.
All right, everyone. Take
Thank
All
care.
you.
right. Thank you. I
Thank
Bye.
appreciate
you.
y'all. All right. Much love.
Bye
Talk
bye.
to you soon.
Bye
Take
bye.
care.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Oh, always, Hoot. I always totally enjoy it. Be in touch soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.
I'm on my phone trying to sign off. There we go.
Elizabeth always tripping, bro. Wow. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. What a collection of incredible women. And I got to be honest, to her point in the last questions that she asked as a part of our conversation, it is a little bit intimidating to know the history of how far this country and women's sports, and in this case, women's basketball, has come, and to be in the company of always these incredible, amazing women, groundbreaking women who have shattered so many glass ceilings. It's incredible. And we, just for the record, asked Ray Pond, who is an incredible Take two. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And to Kim's point, and one of the questions she asked about sort of imposter syndrome, I got to be honest with you. It's sometimes a little bit intimidating to be in the presence of some of the people that have come on this show, from Cheryl Miller to Ann Myers Drysdale to Ray Pond to Ruthie Bolton to Kim Hampton today to Judy Sweet to Elizabeth Galloway McQuitter, who was on this podcast as she usually is, Susan Summons, Shar, DK. It's
Trish
just
Roberts.
really incredible to be learning the history as we go here, because I never knew it, being on the men's side for 16 years and now starting my 19th year on the women's side. So I can't thank all of you enough for taking time out of your day to come show Kim some love, especially Kim's former coach at Arizona State. Wow, who's at the Naismith Hall of Fame right now for this year's inductees and the festivities, Julian Simpsons. So, man, and the more we continue to learn about the history of the game, the herstory of the game, the better everyone is going to be for it, because some of the stories that are untold, just like we'll see, in World War II, the movies and the untold stories or anything else about our history or our history. It just makes you appreciate the game that much more. So again, thanks for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a long one, but if you made it here till the end, we'd love for you to follow us, subscribe, let everyone know about it. Again, we don't make any money on the podcast and haven't for 7 years. Have no sponsors other than my own Amazon storefront and YouTube shop. And we just want to continue to be a bridge and a vessel and serve any way we can to help promote this incredible game and women's sports in general. So until next time, thanks for watching. Much love. Hoot out. Here are today's outtakes, everyone. We hope you enjoy them. And thanks again for watching and listening. And for the record, the reason why it was so difficult to find a left-handed AI video was because, they draw from whatever's in their system. And there ain't many lefties.
Yeah.
So that's why it started left on the last one. Literally took me an hour to try and find anything left-handed. It's crazy. Very difficult. So yeah, but I did my best. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? But you know what I would do also? You make the suggestion, because everything is about prompts with the AI. And I would just make the suggestion and just say, hey, all of the material that you have, the data that you have currently is with right-handers. Can you create something with left-handed moves or something like that, so
totally.
And then sometimes they'll dig deeper or even just create something on the spot for you.
Yeah, I was using YouTube Create, and they're new, so I may have to go to like Open Art, one of the paid for my next lefty.
Now, yeah, exactly. Because look,
my next
Coach
southpaw.
will tell you.
There she is.
I don't know where Kim went. Hey, Coach.
Hey, how you doing? Am I supposed to be surprising Kim this morning?
I don't think. Well, I always try and bring on people to surprise. How things going at the Hall of Fame?
Hey, really good. I just saw Ray Pond a few minutes ago, maybe about a half hour ago.
I love it.
Yep, it's great.
So what are the events going on right there, and how long is it going on for?
Well, today it is at the Mohegan Sun, and the inductees get interviewed this afternoon. This evening, they will be receiving their jackets and their rings, and we also be honoring some other individuals, some sports writers, journalists, and so on. And then tomorrow, we all take off in the morning and go over to Springfield and have the formal induction. So it's great. You see a lot of people. It's a once a year kind of party.
I love it. What's up, Kim?
Hey, I thought I had the wrong link. I went out.
No, I know. My bad. I was trying to wait for a couple of surprises to pop in.
Hey, Kim.
Surprise. Oh, my gosh.
Just saw you a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. How's everything, Coach?
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
I was happy to surprise you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Wow.
You're welcome. It's good to see you. I follow you on Facebook and certainly enjoy everything I see. You're doing a great job in promoting women in sports, and I love it. I love it.
Thank you. I'm trying to get better at that social media thing. I'm just kind of like, it is truly a job, but I
it's
guess
truly poisonous too.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely can be.
Stuck in an elevator with the referee who made a bad call, or a parent whose kid's not getting a lot of playing time.
Thank
All right,
you.
last question, Coach. I do want to state for the record that I was advised against asking an anonymous survey 16 years ago when I was a head college coach, when I asked one of my female assistants who played D1 basketball if it would be a good idea to find out when the women's periods were anonymously, because the incidences of injuries are higher. And it's one of my regrets, because I would have tailored practice and even games if there was some consistent theme across the board. And this is something that shouldn't be taboo. I have a daughter.
Totally.
Because we are not on the preventative side enough. And when there's a double the already 4 to 6 times higher ACL injuries with women, I hope that we evolve in this space.
I totally agree with you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, Hoot. This
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Great job, Hoop. Nice
conversation.
seeing everybody.
Amazing.
Take care.
Thanks, Molly. I appreciate it. Remember, you can always dial 988 24/7 365 and someone will be there to listen and help you if you're having a hard moment or a hard day. Mom, thanks for everything you do for all of us. Guys and ladies, remember to do your self-monthly breast examinations. And guys, please do your self-testicular examinations monthly as well. Shout out to Moolah Kicks, the first ever female brand basketball shoe in the history of the United States, started by Natalie White. And shout out to 40 Tons Brand, a socially conscious cannabis brand. This episode is brought to you by my YouTube channel. Check it out right now, youtube.com/@MikeHootner, and my Amazon storefront. Check that out also at amazon.com/shop/the-sports-deli, all one word. Now, I may make a commission on any qualifying purchase, but it's at no extra cost to you. Much love. See you next time, and remember, you're not alone. Do I have to refer to him as Mr. Duncan? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, please, I'm very formal, Secretary Duncan.
There you go. Exactly.
Just put a sir on the end of it. Secretary Duncan, sir.
Well, because, Jay Billis always said that he could never call Coach K Mike, even after all these years, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Mike's a different level. I'm not. So it's all good.
All right, here we go.
Look at that shirt. What? Wait, but hold on one second. That's an inside-out white shirt. You're living a life.
Thanks again for joining us today, everyone. Feel free to send me an email to thesportsdeli@gmail.com. Also, check out my link tree. It's /Mike Hootner. Remember, Black Lives Matter. Reach out to your local and state politicians for any individual or group that you feel are being marginalized. Stop the bullying. Stop the Asian hate. Let's end gun violence with common sense laws. Let's be allies for the LGBTQIA plus community. And I challenge those of you in the white space to be anti-racist, to be bridges and vessels, to help bridge the gaps between black and white America. And remember, until next time, it takes a village, everyone. Much love. Peace. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Much love. Hoot.